whether the team is performing clean or unsightly. We'll cover it all here on Washington Football Nightly. I, of course, am your host, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Let's get to tonight's lead story. So I got a little bit of a different lead story for you tonight. I wanted to switch it up, and this is something I think I'm going to do periodically from here on out, being that I feel like the season has already come to a conclusion already, in my mind at least. I'm hoping Alex Smith and the team proves me wrong, but this is an exercise that I think I'll continue to do throughout the rest of the season, every now and again, just to keep you on your toes and to get you thinking about this offseason, because I think it's a very big one. Year 2 of Rivera, probably going to draft your future franchise quarterback, going to need to make some upgrades to this roster, and you've got the cap space in which to do so. So I think there's a clear direction that this team needs to go in, and I think this offseason is a big one in kind of forging that path that they're going to go on. Now, this scenario that I'm going to pose to you is coming with the assumption that we draft a quarterback in the first round. So we don't need to talk about quarterback. We're taking one in the first round. Here's the scenario that I'm going to pose to you. You've got package A and you've got package B. Which one are you going to take? So package A consists of the following. 1, you're going to sign inside linebacker Jayon Brown from the Tennessee Titans here to come to Washington on a big deal. Now, again, he's on his first contract. He's on a rookie deal right now. You'll be getting him going into the prime of his career. He's a really good inside linebacker for the Titans. Now, they play a 3-4 defense. He'll be coming to a 4-3 defense, but that's not a big deal. You can get a guy from a 3-4 to come and play into a 4-3 defense. It's not a big transition. So, in my mind, you're getting a young linebacker that fits within the dynamic of what they're doing from an age standpoint. Jayon Brown is 25. He'll be 26 by the time the season starts next year. So he's right in that pocket that they're looking for. You're going to have to pay, more likely than not, some good money to Jayon Brown. I'm not saying you're going to have to break the bank necessarily, but you're going to have to pay good money for Jayon Brown. Also, you're going to draft a 5th-round tight end, because 2 of your tight ends on the roster right now aren't currently on a deal next season in Jeremy Sprinkle and Tamarick Hemingway. So you're going to have to do something at the tight end position. And so you draft a 5th-round tight end, a young guy, which means what I'm essentially telling you is that they view Logan Thomas as tight end number 1, as the guy. They're not looking to replace him at this very moment. And I don't want him gone. I just want a tight end number 1 ahead of him. But if they decide, hey, this guy did this in his first year being the guy, and we really thought that he was exceptional this year and he's only going to get better, then that's the direction that they're going to go in, and they're going to draft someone to play behind him, not in front of him. That 5th-round pick at the tight end position is a guy that they expect to come in and play behind, not in front of Logan Thomas. And then finally, you re-sign Brandon Sheriff. You keep one of your own here. You ink him to a massive deal. He's going to want a lot of money, and you figure out if you can get to some kind of middle ground with him, or maybe you just cough up the big bucks and you keep what you deemed to be a veteran leader in the locker room here in Washington along the offensive line. Package B. Okay, so that was package A. Signed Jayon Brown, inside linebacker from the Tennessee Titans, Jayon Brown, to a big deal as a free agent signing. You draft a 5th-round tight end to go along with Logan Thomas, behind him, not in front of him, and you also re-sign Brandon Sheriff. Okay, so that's package A. Package B, okay, consists of this. You're going to sign tight end Hunter Henry, who last year was on Washington's radar, but the Los Angeles Chargers decided to franchise tag him. Well, they're not going to franchise tag him 2 years in a row, so more likely than not, he will be a free agent. Now, does he decide to return to Los Angeles for the Chargers? We'll see. But let's, for the sake of say that he's here in Washington. You sign Hunter Henry to a big deal, more likely than not going to cost you somewhere in the neighborhood of $10, $11 million per year for one of the better 2-way tight ends in the league, can block and catch it, and he would give you the number 1 option at tight end that we think we're missing. And now you've got one of the better 1-2 punches in the league in Hunter Henry and Logan Thomas. Okay, so that's the first move. Now you have a glaring hole at linebacker that you didn't address because you didn't go with package A, but you're going to address it with a guy in-house in Reuben Foster, who you think is going to be healthy and ready to go. Remember, he's a free agent. So if you want Reuben Foster back, you're going to have to sign him, but you're not sure what you're going to get from Reuben Foster on the field, in addition to which you're not sure what you're going to get with Reuben Foster off the field. So you're going to sign Reuben Foster to a 1-year prove-it deal. Now, if he proves it, you're going to have to break the bank for him the following year, but you'll worry about that when it comes. But in the meantime, you're going to roll with Reuben Foster and hope that he stays healthy, and you hope that he stays clean off the field, which he's done since signing here in Washington. So you go with Reuben Foster and Hunter Henry, and you're going to draft a third-round guard because Brandon Sheriff gone off into the abyss and signed elsewhere in free agency. And so now there's a hole. Now, they like Wes Schweitzer. I like Wes Schweitzer, but you can do better than Wes Schweitzer. And so because of that, you go out and you sign a new guard, or you go out and draft a third-round guard. Now, Sadiq Charles may be the answer at one guard spot, but you don't have the answer at the other guard spot if you allow Brandon Sheriff to move on. So you draft a third-round guard to come in and compete. And that's the way you look to soften the blow of losing Brandon Sheriff. It's a much cheaper option than what Sheriff is going to be. You can reallocate those funds elsewhere. You're going to re-sign linebacker Reuben Foster on a 1-year deal to prove it as an inside backer here. And you're also going to bring on board tight end Hunter Henry on about a $10, $11 million per a year deal to be your new tight end number 1 in Washington. That's package B. Which one are you taking? Package A, okay, or package B? One more time to run this down, and then we'll move on. Package A, you sign inside linebacker Jayon Brown, who's going into the prime of his career, coming off of his rookie contract with the Tennessee Titans, here to Washington to a 4-year, let's call it a 4-year, $39 million deal for Jayon Brown. And it's probably going to be a lot more pricey than that. Probably more like a 4-year, let's call it $48 million deal. Okay. And I'm just throwing out random numbers. I don't actually know his market value. Okay. The linebacker position is a tricky one, but let's just throw out $12 million per year. 4 years, $48 million for Jayon Brown to come here and be our new starting inside linebacker to go along with Cole Holcomb and KPL. So that's one. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to draft a 5th-round tight end. Why? Because you're going to lose, more likely than not, Tamarick Hemingway, or you can bring him back if you want. He's 28 years old, though. I didn't realize he was that old. He's 28, going to be 29 next season. So he's not a spring chicken, but more likely than not, Tamarick Hemingway either is going to be here in a third tight end capacity or on the practice squad or not here at all because he's a free agent. And Jeremy Sprinkle, also a free agent in the offseason. So you need to do something there. Even if it's not go out and get a big name tight end or it's not draft a tight end high in the draft, you still have to do something because you're not going to have a ton of bodies at the position. Marcus Ball may be back, but again, you'd like to give some more competition to that position. So you draft the 5th-round tight end. Not a tight end number 1, more likely than not if he's a 5th rounder, but still a guy to come in here and help at the tight end position. That means Logan Thomas, more likely than not, is your tight end number 1 moving forward, and the team believes that. And then you're going to re-sign Brandon Sheriff, one of your leaders in the locker room, and you're going to hope that he stays healthy. And that's going to be a very lucrative deal. You're talking 5 years, $92 million, something along those lines. It's going to be very, very pricey. But nonetheless, he's one of yours, homegrown product. You keep him here. He's a leader in the locker room, and you reward him and show everybody else in the locker room that if you play here and you do the right things and you do what we ask you to do, we're going to reward you here. Then you go to package B. You sign tight end, free agent tight end Hunter Henry. Still young, in the prime of his career, 26 years old. You bring him on board, one of the better two-way tight ends, and that allows you to move Logan Thomas to tight end number 2, and now you've got one of the most balanced and maybe dangerous 1-2 punches at the tight end position in the league. You then, and that's going to cost you, let's call it $11 million. Let's say it's a 4-year, $11 million deal, or 4-year, $44 million deal for Hunter Henry. All right, Washington wasn't willing to go $10 million per for the tight end Austin Hooper last year. Maybe they're willing to go to 11 for a guy like Hunter Henry. We will see. But you got to do something at linebacker because John Bostic isn't it. He's not the answer. So you decide to keep it in-house, however, and go with Reuben Foster, who is a free agent, and you're willing to sign him to a 1-year prove-it deal. You think he's going to be healthy next year. You think he's going to keep his nose clean off the field, and you want to see if this guy can be what he was supposed to be when he was drafted in the first round out of Alabama, and you're going to give him an opportunity to do it here in Washington on a 1-year prove-it deal. And then you're going to draft a 3rd-round guard. Why? Because Brandon Sheriff took off in free agency and got paid elsewhere. You think that you've got one guard position potentially sewn up with Sadiq Charles, but now there's a gaping hole at right guard, and you're going to look to address that potentially with a 3rd-round guard. Which one would you choose? I'm looking forward to your responses down in the comment section. So let's move on to in other news, where we heard from both head coach head coach Ron Rivera and defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio. We'll talk about what they had to say here in a second. But as I like to do on Thursdays and Fridays, we're going to take a look at the injury report for both teams in the upcoming game. We're playing the Lions in Week 10 on the road at Ford Field. Let's see what the injury report looks like for both teams. We start first with our guys, the good guys in Washington. Not a lot here. I don't even know why Kyle Allen's on the injury report. He's not coming back the remainder of the season. They know it. We know it. And there's no reason for him to be on the injury report. Thomas Davis was a topic of discussion at the presser today for Ron Rivera and for Jack Del Rio. Look, Thomas Davis is old. Period. I talked about it earlier this season. We watched film. I said this guy can't run anymore. And that's why he's not playing. They're going to let the young guys play. At least those guys are going to be able to run and make mistakes. He can't run. He won't make mistakes, but he can't run. So, it's a trade-off there. You can see it, but you can't get there. What difference does it make? Antonio Gibson did not practice yesterday with a shoulder injury, but he did practice today. So that was good news. Dontrell Inman with the hamstring still not at practice. Again, I don't anticipate Dontrell Inman playing this week. Wide receiver Jeff Badette, however, did practice today on a limited basis. Gibson was a limited participant. So was Jeff Badette with his hamstring injury. So that's good news for both of those guys after not practicing a day ago, or Badette being limited yesterday. He was limited again today. Jaron Christian was a no-show at practice today, as well as Dustin Hopkins, place kicker, which is a big story right now because a lot of you have been asking for Dustin Hopkins to be replaced. Kare Vedvik is on the roster, has been on the practice squad, is a protected player, was one last week, is one this week. And if Dustin Hopkins can't go, we'll see the debut of Kare Vedvik in a Washington uniform. And if he has a good game, let the controversy begin. If he doesn't, a lot of you will get what you asked for. And I always tell you, be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. So we'll see how that one goes. Now we transition to the Detroit Lions, and it's a laundry list of guys. It's ridiculous. So wide receiver Kenny Golladay is the biggest name on this list. He's not playing. I told you that 2 weeks ago when I told you things were shaping up, when I thought, man, we're coming off this bye week. We just beat Dallas, and the Giants are next, and the schedule's shaping up. Golladay is going to be out. Matthew Stafford just sustained an injury. And, the 49ers have injuries. And by the time we get to them, they're going to be all banged up and probably out of the playoff race. Like, this thing is shaping up for us. And then we had a big injury. And we lost to the Giants. And now, we're back to square one. But Kenny Golladay had a hip injury versus the Falcons. He's not playing in this game. And so Kenny Golladay was it against the Falcons? I think it was the following week against the I want to say whoever their opponent was the following week. The Colts. That's when he sustained the hip injury. He's been out since then, and he's not going to play in this game either. TJ Hawkinson has a toe injury. Their tight end, their first-round pick from last year's draft, has a toe injury. He did not practice today. That's one to keep an eye on. I still contend that he's going to play. However, if he can't play, they're really down two of their bigger offensive weapons this season in Galladay and Hawkinson. So that's another name to watch. Then you get into a bunch of guys that were limited in practice. Wide receiver / kick returner Jamal Agnew with ribs was a limited participant today and yesterday. Guard Joe Dahl with a back injury, limited yesterday and today. Linebacker Jarrett Davis was limited in practice with a knee injury. Christian Jones, another guy that they rely on at the linebacker position, has a knee injury as well. He was limited in practice. A lot of these guys I fully expect to play. Safety Jaron Curse with an ankle injury. He was limited in practice both yesterday and today. Big V, we know him all too well. He's with the Eagles, has a foot injury. He was limited in practice. He's one of their big offseason acquisitions at the tackle position. He was limited in practice today. Defensive tackle Nick Williams, a shoulder injury, limited in practice today. And then you get to all the guys that were full participants, which means they're trending towards being a go for Sunday. And I would assume that most of them will be. You start with offensive tackle Tyrell Crosby, who has an ankle injury, full participant today. Cornerback Mike Ford, a hip injury, full participant today. Defensive end Everson Griffin, who we just saw 2 weeks ago versus Dallas, who was traded to the Lions after that game. It has a non-injury related situation and didn't practice Wednesday, but it was back at practice. So you could go ahead and take him off the board. He'll be ready come Sunday. Jeff Okuda, who a lot of people here in Washington thought could be the pick, and a lot of you wanted Jeff Okuda as the second pick overall in the draft last year. Ankle and groin, full participant, more likely than not, he will be a go. Danny Shelton, defensive tackle, chest injury, full participant. He's the anchor and the linchpin of their defense in terms of stopping the run. And so he'll be more likely than not available in this game. Quarterback Matthew Stafford with a neck injury. He was a full participant yesterday, full participant today. I already told you he's going to play. They might as well take him off of the injury report. He's going to suit up on Sunday. And safety Tracy Walker, foot injury, limited participant on Wednesday, full participant on Thursday. So they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 guys on the injury report. If I had to guess, I'd say of the 16, probably 12 of these guys are going to play. So more likely than not, most of these guys you see on this list, prepare for them to play. Now, I think the one that is not going to play is Kenny Galladay. And I feel really confident in saying that. TJ Hawkinson may not go. And if those two don't go, if everybody else plays, but those two don't go, I feel really good about what we may be able to do on the defensive side of football. Not going to change my prediction for this game at all. However, it will give us a better opportunity defensively against what is a very talented and dynamic offense spearheaded by one Matthew Stafford. But nonetheless, that's the injury report for both teams. We'll keep an eye on that. Tomorrow we'll have an update as to who practiced on Friday and where the Lions stand heading into Week 10. Same with our guys. Speaking of our guys, Ron Rivera spoke about one of those guys on the injury report, and that being Dustin Hopkins. And he said, look, if Hop wants to play, Hop is going to have to kick at some point this week. And whether that's on Friday or it's on Saturday, Hop has to kick and feel comfortable kicking, or else they're going to activate Kare Vedvik for the game on Sunday. So that's something to keep an eye on. Vedvik has a huge leg, but accuracy has been an issue. I remember this kid bursting onto the scene in Baltimore in the preseason and me thinking, man, this guy's going to be the next big thing. The Ravens have it all figured out at the kicking position. They got Justin Credible, who's probably a future Hall of Famer. And now they've got this kid here and they have no space for him. This is a bargaining chip. They could trade him to somebody. Atlanta at the time needed a kicker. The Raiders at the time needed a kicker. Ultimately, I think the Bills came calling and traded for him. And I think they flipped him for like a 5th or a 6th round pick. And I was like, man, that's pretty damn cool to be able to take a kicker and flip him for a late round draft pick. And then it promptly went to Buffalo and stunk it up. So here he is in Washington, and we're going to see if, and, with kickers sometimes, they just need a chance, another chance. Maybe the first chance and opportunity doesn't go well, but doesn't mean the guy can't kick. He's got a big leg, and I think he's very capable. We'll see what he does if he gets an opportunity versus the Lions. Keep in mind, it's indoors. So even if he kicks really well, which I don't care, outside, inside, I want you to kick well, but it's not outside in the elements. Just keep that in mind, but we'll see what happens. Rivera talked about the linebackers again, and it really was more of the reporters asking him about the linebackers and him just reiterating, we just need more from these guys. They asked him specifically about, hey, you're thinking about maybe, shortening a little bit of John Bostic's reps. Obviously, I'm not the only one that is able to watch the film and see that John Bostic is the main culprit. And, to which, Ron gave some roundabout answer of, well, we got guys playing certain positions. John Bostic's been playing exclusively middle linebacker for us, and we've got Cole and KPL as outside backers. So, those guys don't really play inside. That's not what we asked you. There are other guys on this team that play inside linebacker like Sean, and I wish one of them would have specifically said, hey, Sean Dion's out there. You thinking about giving him some opportunities, giving him some snaps? But nobody brought that up. I thought they dropped the ball there, but, he pretty much danced around John Bostic being benched, and I think he's going to be, out there. And look, I already told you on the film breakdown that I don't expect John Bostic to be benched, even though he should. He's not going to go from playing every single defensive snap to just not playing anymore. If they're going to sit him down, it's going to be a gradual thing, and Sean Dion would have to take it from him. I don't know what Sean Dion has done to not be able to get on the field, even though he was on the field quite a bit down the stretch, but that was because of an injury to KPL. I want to see Sean Dion get some snaps at inside linebacker. Is that too much to ask? Maybe it is for this staff. I don't know. Ron also talked about the team and the prospects of what this team could be. Talked about young guys continuing to develop, more specifically Antonio Gibson, and how he's getting better in pass protection and how he's pressing holes inside. And, he continues to talk about the versatility of J.D. McKissick and Antonio Gibson. And, these are things that they want to continue to build upon. And if they can add Bryce Love in the mix, he'll add more versatility to that positional group. He talked about playing against Adrian Peterson and how that's an advantage for the Lions, because Adrian was here and he knows the offense a little bit because of the time he spent in training camp with this offense. But then he flipped it on his head and said, well, on the other side of things, we got J.D. McKissick and Logan Thomas, who were both Lions last year, and those guys are really smart players, so they should be able to give us a little something as well. So, the chess match of having guys that used to play for a team, he talked about that as well. So he talked about Chase Young and, just conveying the message to Chase that, dude, you're doing a hell of a job. The sacks will come. Don't get discouraged. But, anybody that's watching film understands what's going on with Chase. I mean, literally the guy was triple teamed last game against the Giants. And every game he's getting multiple double teams. Now, he's getting one-on-one matchups too. And he's not winning all of those. But, as I mentioned on the film, those guys get paid too. So eventually the sack numbers will come for Chase. He got a sack on Sunday. He almost had 2 more sacks on Sunday. They're going to come. And when they do, I think they're going to come in bunches. And as you get to Jack Del Rio, Jack's my guy because he's the polar opposite of Ron. For one, Ron is a little wordy sometimes in his answers. He says too much. You know how I feel about that. Jack is totally opposite. He's not trying to give you anything. For instance, they asked him about the linebackers, and this is why Ron talks too much, because every time Ron says something, the media members are going to take what Ron says and they're going to throw it in the face of Jack. Hey, we just talked to Ron, and Ron said that the linebackers aren't doing enough. How do you feel about the linebackers played to this point? And Jack's like, well, I'll let Ron evaluate the linebackers. That's his way of saying, Ron, shut the hell up. What are you talking about? Leave my guys alone. No, they're not performing the way that we want them. We've got high standards, which is what Jack Del Rio said. We got high standards, but I think they've done their job for the most part this season. They can get better, but linebackers are paid to produce, and they've had their moments this year. And that's what Jack said. But he said, I'll leave the evaluation to coach. I just know that we've been pleased with what we've gotten out of the front seven. And so Jack, he has this roundabout way of deflecting. You can't be thrilled with what you've gotten out of all of the linebackers. You can't be. And if you're trying to tell me you are, you're lying to me, to my face. But Jack, what he's done effectively is, I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. We're going to handle this stuff internally. If we have a problem, we'll handle it and we'll make a change if necessary. And that's really the way you do it. As a coach, you're supposed to be diplomatic. You don't need to air out grievances or, things that you're not pleased with via the media. You handle that stuff in-house. And, with Ron, sometimes he's a little bit too direct. And I don't care. Personally, I don't give a damn. I really don't. But I'm more of a, hey, give you vague answers. Keep it short and sweet. And I love the fact that Jack's also lighthearted with the media. He shares a laugh or two with them every single week. That's how I like it. That's how I would be if I was at the podium. I'd have some jokes and I'd be funny, but at the same time, I'm not giving you too much. And these reporters, they do a really good job of asking questions in a roundabout way, or picking and probing, or they'll take some words that were said earlier in a different presser, or words from somebody else like a Rivera, and throw them at Del Rio and expect to get a response. And Jack's just not biting the bait. And remember, Jack is a former head coach, so he's not going to bite the bait. And so he's like, yeah, the linebackers, they've been good this season. We've put a lot on their plate. Jack said we put a lot on their plate. And the front seven has been really good. Come on, we know the truth. It's Jack who's trying to dance around the truth, and then it's Ron who's been really blunt. He's like, yo, look, the linebackers, in order for us to maximize our defensive linemen, and I said this in film when I was talking about Daron Payne, could you imagine Daron Payne with a true inside linebacker that is an animal, that will fire his gun once he sees it and goes? Could you imagine what that would do for a Daron Payne or a Jonathan Allen? Because in their minds, it doesn't matter if I take on this double team. My linebacker still isn't going to shoot the gap and make the tackle. So I might as well try to play hero ball and make the play myself. And you see Jonathan Allen doing it. Jonathan Allen is jumping out of his gap to try to make a play. Why? Because he doesn't trust the guys behind him to make the play. And if I don't make the play, then it's not going to get made. And we're going to give up 6. So I better try to make this play. But in doing that, you could take what should be a 2 or 3 yard gain if you just play your gap responsibility and turn it into a 7 yard gain because you're jumping out of your gap. But that's what guys go through. That's the mental gymnastics that are played when you don't have linebackers that these guys can trust up front. Now they're thinking they got to make the play or it's not going to get made. And that's why you have to upgrade the linebacker position. So Rivera pretty much said, yeah, these guys got to do their job or you're going to leave these defensive linemen out to dry. Duh. Well, Jack's not doing that. He's not signing up for any of that. And he just lumped the front 7 together, which is a smart move on his part because no one's doubting the front 4. Everyone's questioning the linebackers. But if you group them together, there's not much you can say because now you're lumping in the strength of this team with the part of the team that hasn't been the strongest this season, and no one's going to question the front 4. So if you package them together as a front 7, now you say, hey, they've been pretty solid. Well, damn right they have because you're now including the front 4. But if you take the front 4 out and we just focus on the 3 linebackers, we haven't gotten enough from the linebackers this season, period. So anyway, Jack was really, really diplomatic there. Jack talked about Matthew Stafford and how he calls him a big game hunter. He's looking for big plays, which we all know too well. The last time we saw Matthew Stafford back in 2016, he cut our hearts out at the end of the game with a last-second drive and ate it with a fork and a knife right in our face as Kirk ran on a read option keep for a touchdown that we thought was going to be the game winner, and Stafford in less than 40 seconds raced down the field and I think he threw a touchdown pass, if I'm not mistaken, and beat us in that football game. Man, was that a devastating loss. That one still stings because that was the year where we had the Cincinnati tie in overtime in London. We had the Lions loss, and we had the Cowboys loss on Thanksgiving. All were winnable football games, and all had plays in it that if it goes our way, we might win those games, including a Matt Jones fumble in that Lions game as he was going into the end zone. And you had a miss from Dustin Hopkins in that game as well. So we didn't see Stafford last year. He was banged up when we beat the Lions, one of our few wins last season. And we almost lost that game. So we'll see what happens moving forward. But he talked very glowingly about Matthew Stafford and his talent and what he's capable of. And he's absolutely 110% spot on. Speaking of Matthew Stafford and the Detroit Lions, let's take our first look at those very Lions as we will be traveling to Ford Field to take on the Detroit Lions in week number 10. And we should be 3-5 just like the Lions going into this game. It's frustrating that we're not, but we are what our record says we are. We're 2-6. And as we thought before we lost last week, it's a winnable game. I'm not disputing that. And I've had a bunch of fans this week try to convince me that we're going to win this game. That's fine. You know, if that's what you want to believe, that is your prerogative. I hope you're right. I'm not rooting for this team to lose. I'm not like one of these fans that once they declare the season over, they want to lose the rest of the games. That's not me. But I don't think we're going to win the game either. You know, and until somebody proves me wrong and proves otherwise, that's the mindset I have. But I can tell you this first look at the Lions, Stafford scares the shit out of me. He scares me shitless. Because, now, I will say this. We're much more equipped to deal with Matthew Stafford this year than in any year previous to this when we've played the Lions. The defense is much better. We're more stout up front. We're able to put some pressure. If they have any issues up front along the offensive line, we'll be able to put pressure on Matthew Stafford. And if you can get to Stafford, you can force him into some mistakes. Watch Stafford last week. He threw 2 interceptions in the red zone last week, 1 in the end zone for an interception. Now, both of those were by linebackers. I don't know if we've got a linebacker on our team that can make a play other than Cole Holcomb in the pass game. I don't trust any of our linebackers to catch a football. So I don't think we're going to be able to do what Minnesota did last week as far as picking Stafford off with linebackers and coverage. And that was some tremendous coverage by those linebackers. However, I do think we can replicate what the Vikings were able to do getting to Stafford and harassing him in that football game. I think we're more than capable of doing that. And I think we have enough talent to exploit them defensively because they like to play a ton of man-to-man. If you understand what the Patriots' philosophy is, then you know the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. Bill Belichick's mentality, which is why he always likes to lock up a big-time corner. And if you go through the lineage of Bill Belichick and you go through the years of him winning, the one constant is he's always got a shutdown corner. You know, he's always got, so if you go through the list, it's Ty Law. It's Asante Samuel. You know, it's Darrelle Revis. And now it's Stephon Gilmore. That's how he's won through the years. Got to have that one guy that I trust to shut it down. All right. And then we'll play off of that because they like to play a ton of man-to-man coverage. That's why, and don't forget Aqib Talib. That's why he tried to lure Aqib Talib out of a retirement because he said, look, we need you to play against some of these tight ends we got on the schedule. And Aqib Talib looked at the schedule and said, nah, coach, I'm good. These guys are some beasts. I don't want the smoke. I'm too old for this shit. So, you know that a disciple of Belichick and Matt Patricia, who's the head coach of the Lions, is going to play a ton of man-to-man coverage. And that's why they drafted Jeffrey Okuda, because he's adept at playing man-to-man coverage. That's why they went out and signed Desmond Trufant, because he can play man-to-man coverage, because that's what they want to do on the back end. They want to play man-to-man coverage. And this could be a big week for Terry. This could be a big week for Cam Sims. This could be a big week for Steven Sims. If somebody wants to step up you can against man-to-man. Those mesh concepts that we love to run, that's what these are the types of games where these mesh concepts come into focus and should be a huge part of the game. Because when you get man-to-man coverage on those mesh concepts, on those crossers, you're running interference. Somebody's supposed to come wide ass open and you just get it to them and you let them do the rest. So it should be a fun one. Looking forward to breaking it down. Tomorrow we'll have the keys to the game for this matchup between Washington and Detroit. We'll have some opportunities, but if we turn it over like we did in week number 9, we'll have the same result as we had in week number 9. So it'll be interesting to see what exactly transpires, but we'll get more into greater detail tomorrow as to how it will be possible for Washington to get their 3rd victory of the season. But in any event, I'm going to glide to the side, allow you guys to get back to your regularly scheduled programming. I thank you guys for joining me. If you haven't already done so, what are you waiting on? Subscribe to the LouieTeeNetwork for more great content. Turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And also hit that like button if you haven't already done so. And make sure you comment on the lead story for today. I gave you a scenario. Package A, package B. Which would you rather take? Which would you prefer in the upcoming offseason? Love to hear from you guys. Can't wait to read your responses. Also, if you haven't already done so, what are you waiting on? Join the Mob Squad. MOBB, stand up. We in the building. As always, we holding it down, talking about all things Washington football. Going to add some more features to the discussion board, including a new quiz. I'm going to add a couple more poll questions, and we'll also have a few more discussions opened up as we start to look forward to the draft. I'll open up a discussion board for the draft as far as Washington football is concerned. So if you're not a member of the Mob Squad, become one. Hit the link down in the description and join the MOBB. Also, got LTN merch, hats, beanies, hoodies, shirts, you name it, mask, everything on the website, theprintchamps.com/LouieT. It's down in the description. Hit that link and shop for some merch, whether it's a hoodie or it's a hat or it's a beanie. You name it, we got it. You want to show some support? Go ahead and cop some of the merch. And if you cop it, send me a picture. I can't wait to see it. Thank you so much for your support. I'm going to thank you guys in advance. That being said, you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Hopefully you'll join me later on tonight for the overtime series where we've got a dandy in the AFC South, Colts, Titans. Look forward to breaking that one down after it meets its conclusion. But if not, I'll see you guys on Friday for Washington Football Nightly. I'm your man, Louie T, and this has been Washington Football Nightly. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.
Here comes the diesel. Here comes the diesel. There's the snap, hand to Riggins. Good hole. He's got the first down to the 40. He's gone. The 35, the 30, the 20. He's gone.